Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Dell XPS 18. So what you're looking at is an 18.4-inch all-in-one Windows 8.1 computer. It does look like an 18.4-inch tablet right now, and that's because I do have it disconnected from the included or at least supplied dock in my case, which is a charging mount that uses the Pogo magnetic port on the bottom, which right now this is inverted because I have it in one of the two different stand modes that it's capable of, which you can see right here. We've got feet on the back of the device, which I'm using in one of, again, the two different modes. One is a tabletop stand mode, so it's completely upright. The other is the one we're in right now for productivity. There's that charging port, and what's really nice about the charging port is that it does allow for seamless charging without you having to plug anything in, something I wish I had for my Surface Pro, but of course the dock soon will be out. Now excuse the reflection here, but we've got a very high gloss finish on this 1080p display. The good news is that Dell didn't cut any corners on manufacturing this computer, tablet, all-in-one hybrid machine. And I feel that it kind of does fill the gray area, the gray space, in between the tablet and computer world, literally, because you're looking at a computer that can also double as a tablet around the house. Now, while it can charge on that dock that I mentioned, which was displayed in my unboxing, you do still have a traditional battery built into this, like any other Ultrabook tablet, but that battery life is limited. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the desktop. You can see we've got the traditional desktop here. And you can see right now we're at 91%, and it's estimating a little over 3 hours, 3 hours and 8 minutes. I'm not sure whether or not that will be legible. And that's the whole point here. This isn't meant for travel, although there's no question someone who would like to be able to bring this over to a friend's house or for business meetings, client presentations, a photographer, this can have great applications. You do have a full-size SD card slot on here. This is a real computer. Keep in mind, this can be configured in multiple different ways directly through Dell. You've got that Windows button at the top that allows you to flip through the Metro UI back and forth to whatever your last application is, I should say, or what you were doing last, because that is the function. And with Windows 8.1 on here now, a considerably better machine than what launched back in April of 2013 when Dell first introduced this. And in my opinion, this was a pretty extraordinary offering because Dell really not known for necessarily being a game changer, but when you look at this, it really does redefine our expectations for all-in-ones. Traditionally, the purpose was to do exactly what I just said, get everything into one package, reduce wire clutter, but here we have something that can now also be a tablet, go around the house, travel with you if you really want to. And I say that because the tablet only weighs 5 pounds, and because it does have, I should say computer only weighs 5 pounds, but because it has those built-in feet, it can go anywhere. And even though its battery life is mediocre at somewhere between 3 to 4 hours, they claim, they being Dell, 5 hours of battery life, but let's think realistically more like 3 to 4. I have turned off Intel's power management settings. Had I allowed the low power settings to be going, you'd be seeing refresh issues right now that you won't see with the human eye, but would be reproduced on here, and I wouldn't want people saying, oh, the screen is awful, because it just so happens the screen is really nice. And you have the ability to use either browser, whether you want to use desktop, Internet Explorer, or of course jump right back into the Metro, the tablet version. And both run really well, no dual band Wi-Fi. Now in terms of the configurations, you can go i3, you can go i5, or you can go i7. This is the i5. It is Ivy Bridge only presently. Haswell, once they launch it, which I'm sure they will definitely bring better battery life. There's no question about it. But this device really isn't about battery life, is it? It's about having an Ultrabook, a real computer that you can use anytime, anywhere, even though it is an all-in-one at-home device at heart, and really have zero compromise. Here we are, even though you're dealing with the reflection again, dealing with video that I can easily throw up into 1080p quality, and you'll see how long it takes. Then I'll do a little buffering test. We're already in HD, and I wish I could do better with the lighting, but maybe in the future, another update, I'll just do it in the dark, frankly, and to eliminate the glare. But you could see no buffering really. And I believe I do have the volume cranked all the way up. Yep, that's 100%, which won't come through on my microphone. I am using, a specialized mic, clearly. We're not capturing, it's not meant to capture the best audio of the product, but rather so that you can all hear me clearly. But what I can assure you is the speakers are relatively loud. They're stereo speakers, they're side mounted, and they do the job. But what this should demonstrate is how seamlessly you can jump in and out of, a traditional desktop environment, or be dealing with, then again, a complete, a actual tablet environment. Even though you're looking at an 18.4-inch display, the fact that, again, I'm going to remind you, it's got those feet for acting as a kickstand in two different forms, kind of like yoga-esque functionality from Lenovo. And then to boot, you actually have that, it's not good battery life, but decent. This can get you through basically moving from room to room without an issue. And for what you're going to probably need an 18.5-inch tablet for, it's probably not going to be a lot longer than that. Whether it's watching one movie or browsing the web, whatever it may be, there are smaller tablets with bigger batteries, or I should say better battery life available. So that's not what this is. That's not what this is really about. This is really about being a machine that everyone in the family can use. It performs well, and zero compromise, at least in the regard that it's setting a new standard for tablet size. And I will say that even though it's not a tablet first, because the beauty and the appeal in my, at least, experience so far, and what this update is about, is that even though this is at heart an all-in-one computer with an i5 low voltage Ivy Bridge, real dual core processor in there, complemented by 8 gigs of RAM, so legitimate RAM on board, a 500 gig hard drive that has a 32 gig SSD drive for booting responsibilities, so that we get a nice quick boot time out of this, even though we're not running with an SSD, which you can, I'm pretty sure, modify, although it's a little bit of work considering there are a million screws on the back of this device. But the point is, it's easy to do if you really desire it, I believe. I'm not going to actually try it myself at this point, but it just delivers everything. You've got Bluetooth. I mentioned the Wi-Fi single band. I would have loved dual band. I'm not sure why in such a premium brand Dell excluded that, but it's not a game breaker by any stretch of the imagination for this device. I mean, everything just runs so well. And this is one of those devices that there is no Android or iOS offering. Apple and Google don't have anything like this to show you. I reviewed in the past other 13-inch Android tablets like Toshiba's Excite last year, which had a 1600 by 900 resolution, and that was really just not enough. I mean, you could make the argument it was okay for 13.3, but here we're looking at 18.4. You need that at least 1080p resolution, especially since now a lot of Windows and, of course, Android machines moving up to 2560 by 1600 or higher. We have 3200 by 1800 now on a lot of Ultrabooks. And this is an Ultrabook at heart. I mean, all of the hardware here is what you'll find in about a $500 or $600 Ultrabook. But then you're getting an 18.4-inch portable display. So this is great for a very wide variety of different uses. I could think of a lot of different things, whether it's family use, as I mentioned, client presentations, just media consumption, or if you just want an all-in-one, which is what this is. I mean, when it's on the stand, it looks great, it functions well, it's fast. Is it going to do phenomenal when it comes to things like video editing, Photoshop? It's not going to be a best-in-class performer, but it's going to be able to do it because it is a real computer with legitimate hardware. It's not bleeding edge. This isn't, a Core i7 desktop class or i5 desktop class processor, but it's still going to be able to handle tasks that no other tablet other than Surface Pro are going to be able to take on. So really the best way of looking at this is that it is a giant, oversized Surface Pro or Surface Pro 2, even though it's missing Haswell, with even more features because it does have 2 USB 3.0 ports, a full-size SD card slot, no video out, unfortunately. You do have a front-facing webcam right down here at the bottom for video conferencing. No camera on the back, no NFC, not a lot of other bells and whistles, but everything that you would expect from a computer or laptop or Ultrabook with these specifications. But a completely different purpose, obviously. This is much more about, just being whatever you want it to be. And that's what's great about Windows 8.1. This is one of those machines that I really feel was designed for it and gives you the best possible experience that you could have. They do not include Microsoft Office. This is a common theme only with Surface 2 and the original Surface do they throw it in there, and with all of the netbook replacements, which are now Windows 8.1 tablet hybrid devices running Bay Trail. There, Microsoft wants to entice you, so they throw in Office for free, but when you buy expensive $1,300 machines like this, no Office for you. But viewing angles are solid. This is an IPS display, rubber around the entire tablet, because they know that this is going to take, not a beating, but it needs to be able to go just about anywhere and also be able to accommodate standing up. So just a quick tour around the hardware again. This is the actual left side of the tablet. Keep in mind I had it inverted. I had it upside down. That's why the Windows button was up at the top center. We've got our power port for charging, 2 USB ports. By the way, that's charging when you're not on the optional dock accessory that originally retailed for $99.99. You can now pick it up for about half that on Amazon. I'll include a link. So beyond the 2 USB 3.0 ports, your headphone jack, you've then got one of the 2 stereo speakers, a volume rocker, which again makes you feel like you're working with a tablet, clearly. And if this wasn't 5 pounds, I wouldn't be able to swing it around like this with such ease because, and there you can see the screen going crazy with the refresh rate. Nothing along the top, all aluminum construction on the back, a lot of rubber feet, if you didn't notice, besides the 2 that extend. You also have them for just when it's laying down on its back, because that's another way you can use it. Microphones up at the top for noise canceling during your video conferencing. Alongside the camera right there, you can see we have ambient light sensors. You're going to have to turn off Intel's power management if you want auto screen brightness to really be disabled. That's something that I want to point out. And you can see the auto rotation pretty quick. I mean, and that's because this is a computer. This is not a Bay Trail tablet. There's our power button with an LED light for obviously telling you whether or not you're on, off, no light, and charging status. Another stereo speaker right there. And as I mentioned before, sound output is pretty strong. And then lastly, the Kensington lock. You want to make sure you can lock this beast up. It's not swiped at work or anywhere else. A tremendous amount of ventilation, and it needs it, quite frankly, because look at how thin this thing is. For an 18.5-inch tablet that's also really a full-blown computer, it needs that ventilation. So luckily, it's got it. And Dell really did a great job designing this. You know, I had very mixed feelings about this coming out of the box. Wasn't sure that I was going to be able to find a use for it or really how this fit into any work environment. But I'm starting to see that it could act as a great console and really just a great portable system where when I do want to show off content, it can actually travel with me, even though that's not the ideal or the goal that Dell had in mind. The versatility is, and the fact that for me, I've already found different uses for this, specifically with photography, because of portability, the great screen size, the decent resolution for at least showing off photos. This display is solid, as I mentioned before, and yeah, it just does what it should. And because it's got that beefy hardware, you know that you aren't going to choke trying to get something done here as you would with a tablet. Now, when it comes to competing with other all-in-ones, they're all much bigger, bulkier. The Tab 20 is the closest comparative or competing product to this, and I can't even compare that because it can't be taken around and moved around. It's not a 5-pound device, even though it's 20 inches versus 18.4. This thing really can leave the house if you want it to, and it certainly is at its best moving around the house, whether it's in the kitchen, on your bed. I mean, the mode we're in right now, this stand mode, I think is great for on the bed, on the couch, if you have a large enough couch to accommodate it. It is a little bit ginormous, no question about it, but there's definitely a segment out there, and I think that's one of the reasons it's drawing interest. So overall, battery life is where I expected it, screen performance beyond my expectations, along with build quality, a little haptic feedback like on a lot of machines when you use the Windows button. Love 8.1 and what it's brought to the mix here. It's just a much better overall experience than what Windows 8 presented out of the box or at launch last year. But I personally wasn't so against Windows 8. I think it got a bad rap because people are lazy, quite frankly, and don't want to adopt or adapt to new systems. And Windows 8.1, helps them in a lot of different ways by bringing back a lot of familiarity with that pseudo start button that gives you an even more powerful start button than the one of days of past. So really like the XPS 18 right now, and I'm really just impressed. Also, last thing I want to point out, gesture control with the camera, not a groundbreaking feature, but another thing, if you're in the kitchen, don't want to get this dirty because you're cooking, you can swipe to go through recipes, all using the webcam. Again, this isn't something that only Dell has, but noteworthy that it comes out of the box. So not a lot of bloatware on here either, but then again, Dell doesn't necessarily put things on overload. So performance is solid. Battery life could be better, but remember, this is almost a 20-inch tablet that's running a full Windows 8.1 experience and really doesn't skimp on anything. The only thing I wish that I had in here right now is maybe an SSD, but quite frankly, considering the versatility of this machine, I think the 500 gig hybrid hard drive is a good out-of-box starting point. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.